All right, guys, here we are back at it again with another preview video. This Sunday at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time, your 1-1 Jacksonville Jaguars will be traveling across to the West Coast over to Los Angeles to play the Los Angeles Chargers. And I'll tell you guys what, I am pumped. So as I do with every preview video, I try to bring on people from the opposing team to kind of give us some intel about what is going on with their current situation. So with this one, I am going to bring on the Bolt Bros to discuss what's going on their injury report, some of their strengths and weaknesses, as well as some game predictions.
Bolt Bros! Alrighty guys, Andrew Bolt Bros here. I wanted to discuss the injury report for week 3 versus the Jags. And I want to first say this, that the Chargers have been extremely quiet about the injuries that were sustained week 1 and also week 2. As we know, Justin Herbert was injured. He has fractured rib cartilage that he sustained last 5 minutes of the games against the Chiefs. The Chargers have been extremely quiet about what they're planning on doing with Justin Herbert moving forward as far as week 3 is concerned. So blanket statement across the board, all the injuries that I'm going to discuss, I'm going to say we're going to have more information on Wednesday. I'm going to try and give you as much real-time information right now as of 9:20 in the afternoon, my time around 5 p.m. So let's move through it. Justin Herbert, as we know, is listed day-to-day. Is not even really listed as an actual injury currently on the roster. Let's move down the list. Keenan Allen most likely will play on the 25th. He will probably sit out most of all the practices. I suspect it'll probably be a game-time decision. We'll know more on Wednesday. Donald Parham, tight end, most likely is not trending positive to play on the 25th. He is still recovering from this hamstring injury. Rashawn Slater does have a back injury. He did play all week 2 versus the Chiefs and played every single snap, so most likely he's trending positive to play week 3. Now, moving on the line as well, too, we have Corey Linsley, most likely will play week 3 versus the Jags on the 20th. I suspect he's going to be listed as day-to-day. Apparently, it's some knee tendonitis issues. Also, Trey Pipkins, our right tackle, has an ankle injury. I do believe he will be listed as day-to-day, most likely a game-time decision for the 25th. Also, Isaiah Spiller, our rookie running back, is not trending positive. From what I can tell, we should know more on Wednesday, but I do not expect him to play. At best, he would be a game-time decision on the 25th. Moving over to the defense, Drew Tranquill has played week 1 and week 2 with a back injury. He is trending positive and most likely will play week 3 versus the Jags. Obviously, we know K9, our linebacker, has had some injuries. He's played week 1 and week 2 and is trending positive, will be playing week 3. And the final injury, J.C. Jackson, of course, played week 2. Most likely will play week 3. I do suspect they'll probably give him limited practice moving forward because of his surgery and the removal of the bone in his ankle. So that's where we stand now. Again, we'll have more information tomorrow, but as always, bolt up, don't punt.
Bolt Bros!
What's up, guys? James from Bolt Bros. We're here to talk about our strengths and weaknesses. So going into week 3, we're going to obviously play against the Jags. I feel like it's going to be a good game. One thing that I will start with is our strengths. In my opinion, I feel the defense has been a tremendous strength for our team. Adding Khalil Mack to the end with Joey Bosa, that's a match made in heaven. It's phenomenal to watch these guys play, and if you watch replays of that Raiders game, they were just getting after Derek Carr and just destroying their O-line. Phenomenal to watch them with such a 2 solid ends that are Pro Bowl-based players and All-Pro-based players. Of having Sebastian Joseph-Day and Austin Johnson has been tremendous for our run game. We are currently 7th in the league against the run. Huge difference from when we were almost dead last year against the run. So big difference for us with those additions. On top of that, linebackers, we got our Kenneth Murray, Troy Reeder, Drew Tranquill, Kyle Van Noy. We have really made some very good moves at making sure we stabilize that position and adding more rush capabilities and good depth and guys that have actually won Super Bowls too. Obviously, we got our back end where we added J.C. Jackson, one of the top cornerbacks in the league. Derwin James, who is also a phenomenal player, very active all over the field, plays in the box, great on coverage. He could just be an absolute lockdown guy for any coverage situations. And then Asante Samuel Jr. and Bryce Callahan have both been phenomenal. Callahan's been ranked as one of the top slot corners in the league. Asante Samuel is rising up to where he is looking to be a top-tier cornerback. So exciting defense, one of the biggest strengths there. Obviously, on our offense, we have one of the best quarterbacks in the league with Justin Herbert. Extremely strong O-line with Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater. And then a very good core of our wide receivers. We could basically get after those downfield passes. We could get you in the short game through our running backs, through Austin Eckler, who's an absolute stud. And to be honest, one of the big guys that's been picked up for us that I've been really pleasantly surprised about is Gerald Everett. He's been phenomenal for us for the tight end position and adding that kind of the yards after catch for us too. And one of the bigger surprises is DeAndre Carter. Watch out for that. That guy is doing phenomenal for us. Been a great pickup for us, not just in the special team sides of things, but for wide receiving capabilities. Weaknesses, Andrew already talked about it. Injuries are our issues. We got Keenan Allen with a hammy. We got Justin Herbert with his rib cartilage injury. Rashawn Slater with a back injury. Corey Linsley with a knee injury. Trey Pipkins with an ankle injury. There's been a lot of little issues going on with injuries, and that's always been an issue for us. And we don't know the true update on those. We will know down the road, and if they will be playing. I'm assuming a lot of them will play because Brandon Staley likes to be pretty cautious. One of the biggest weakness for us, too, on top of that, is our after the half play calling. We become extremely conservative for some weird reason. We start just being slow, and we don't end up trying to do a little bit more and be aggressive. We just try to have a lead and hold the lead. I feel like we've been a little bit stagnant in the second half of every game this year. So with the Raiders, we were up ahead, and we just slowed it down, allowed them to crawl back in to that game to potentially win that game, which we found a way for our defense to end the game. For the Chiefs, we were ahead of them too. We were stagnant again in third quarter, fourth quarter. I got stagnant a little bit too. And what do? We let the Chiefs come back in and beat us. So that's one thing. Play calling in the second half has been bad. The third point, too, for one of our weaknesses is our run game. We have such a good stable of running backs. But the issue is that we just really haven't got them going. So I know Joshua Kelly's been looking pretty good. Sony Michel's been getting some touches, and Austin Eckler's been getting some touches, but has not been getting a lot of good reps on the run game, and not a lot, or at least I feel, enough attempts of catching the ball and making a play happen. So that is one thing that does need to change and will need to change. It will need to be a difference for us. So those are a couple points there for our strengths and weaknesses. Let's go.
Bolt Bros!
What up, y'all? It's Kyle from the Bolt Bros. My brothers brought up some amazing points about the upcoming game, and from what I can see, I do think we have a good chance to win. But this is the NFL, and any other team can lose to any other team, despite what it looks like on paper. Let's be real about that. The Chargers are a very tough team this year, but we have some very big problems already from the first 2 weeks of the season going into the third week. That's simply our curse as Chargers. Despite all this, we have all the odds still in our favor. At a -7 Chargers spread, 48 over Chargers, and -321 money line. The Chargers favorites, but I'm still not comfortable with this. Our offense has not been flowing the way it should, but the big thing is about this game could be that we came off a really bad loss versus the Chiefs, which could make us a pissed off team wanting to take out all of our aggression on something and some other team. But with the way that our team has been playing, I believe that we should still be able to make the win, and it's going to be a closer game than you might think. 33-27 win for the Chargers. Thanks for joining our live stream. We'd love to do content with you anytime. Looking forward to the next one. Back to you, UFC Jaguars. Let's go!
Okay, I know. They use the old Jaguars logo, but guys, definitely still go over there, check them out. I did a preview video with them the other day, so I'll leave a link to that down below. So go follow them on their social medias. So now let's get into this. Now, the Chargers are a team that we kind of look at like they're an elite team. Like we put them up there with the Bills or the Chiefs and those teams when it comes to like elite AFC teams. However, this is a team that has missed the playoffs the last couple of years. And what is the reason for that? Well, it seems like they're a pretty inconsistent team. They're a team that last year they beat the elites. I mean, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Bengals, but at the same time, they took losses to the Broncos and the Texans. Maybe we shouldn't make fun of them for that because Jaguars haven't beat the Texans since 2017, but they did take an L to the Texans, which ultimately held them out of the playoffs. And another thing is, I think their head coach is a little bit questionable with Brandon Staley. Last year, he made some really, really questionable moves, primarily on fourth downs when it comes to just being a little bit too gutsy on what he does, and that ultimately cost him at the end of the year. But I think he's definitely a question mark so far going into his second year. So we'll continue to kind of watch him as his coaching year progresses. Now, when you look at this team, when you think of the Los Angeles Chargers, the first guy you think of is Justin Herbert. And really, the Chargers are a really hard team for us Jaguar fans to relate to because they always find great quarterbacks. I mean, they went from Drew Brees to Phillip Rivers to Justin Herbert year after year. And, they're a team that, look, the Jaguars, to get a quarterback, we needed a layup. We needed the number one pick in a year that, one of the highest touted quarterback prospects was coming out. With them, they find Justin Herbert, Phillip Rivers, these guys like kind of in the middle of the first round. So shout out to them for that. Now, Justin Herbert, when we watched him on Thursday Night Football last week, the Jaguars were 0-1. We're watching them. We're like, okay, we're probably going to get boat race next week. And then the Jaguars decided that they wanted to win 24-0 against the Colts and made us think, man, maybe we have a pretty good team here. So, with him right now, Justin Herbert, when we watched that, another thing that gave us hope was like, okay, he looks a little bit hurt. He got hurt. He actually came back in the game, and he has a fractured rib cartilage, which isn't broken ribs. It's a fractured rib cartilage, which, according to all the medical experts, it's an injury that they can play through, but it's really, really painful. And I imagine pain tolerance is different for each player, but we saw him get hurt. He looked terribly hurt. He couldn't make a 1-yard run. But then the next play, he goes out there and fires a complete dart like 35 yards down the field. So, he'll be a guy that can play with it. But no, make no mistake about it. He's going to be a little bit hurt. And, I think with this game, like the back seven is going to have a lot of responsibility because I can imagine in this game, they're going to do everything they can to protect Justin Herbert, especially from that first hit. I think the Jaguars, they need to hit Justin Herbert early because, he's definitely been like treating the injury, definitely been, soft with it. But this is go time. Once the Jaguars get him hit for the first time, then I think he's going to start to feel it. So I think it's important to get that first hit on him. And I imagine they're going to be doing everything they can to protect Justin Herbert. I imagine they're going to do, a lot of tight end chips. I imagine they're going to have, Austin Eckler in there and pass protection a lot of times. I don't know a lot about their offense, but, if they do any empty backfield type of stuff, I can't imagine we're going to see any empty backfield this upcoming game. I think they're going to do everything they can to protect Justin Herbert. So that's a big one. A lot of responsibility for a back seven to be able to cover because it's going to be hard for our edge rushers or our rushers in general to get back there because I think the extra protection will be there. Now, the Chargers are a team that have a lot of skill players. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, all these guys are players that are on our fantasy teams. And, they all have their own very, very unique skill sets. So it's going to be a lot different than the Colts. I mean, last week, they had Jonathan Taylor, but all you had to do was shut down Jonathan Taylor. They had nothing else. Over here, if you try to shut down Eckler, they have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. If you try to shut down Keenan Allen, they have Mike Williams and any other wide receiver they may have. So it's going to be a lot of responsibilities for our defense. And then when you go to their side of the defense, man, they're loaded. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James is back and healthy. Asante Samuel Jr., also Kyle Van Noy. I mean, this is a star-studded team. I mean, this team really has that Super Bowl winning ability pending that they stay healthy. So this is like if they come together okay and if their coaching is good, this is definitely one of those teams that you have to watch out for. Now, when it comes to kind of keys for the Jaguars to win this one, the Jaguars, similar to last week, they need to bleed the clock. The Jaguars did, one of their touchdown drives was the longest drive they've had since like 2019. They need to bleed the clock. They need to get their defense tired and mainly just keep Justin Herbert off the field. If you get Justin Herbert on the field, he's going to make magic happen. And the more plays that Justin Herbert gets, the more greatness he can kind of show out there. So that is a huge one. The Jaguars need to bleed the clock. Similar to last week, they need to convert their third downs and just keep the Chargers defense on the field, keep them tired, and keep Justin Herbert off of the field. Another big thing, as alluded to earlier, we need to bother Herbert. We need to, I think that first hit is really, really important. That first drive, we need to hit Justin Herbert. We need to get him feeling uncomfortable. And hopefully last couple of weeks, you notice that, look, when we've gotten pressure on Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan, it's led to interceptions. We're leading the NFL right now with 5 interceptions, and pretty much all those are due to pressure, getting pressure on a quarterback. So I think it's, really important to bother Herbert. And, with this one, I think I can go out there and say our defensive line is really good. We're good at rushing the passer. We're good at run defense. And I also think our linebackers are good. Our linebackers are just extremely versatile. They're fast. They can both rush the passer. They can stop the run. Our linebacker situation is good. Now, I do have questions about our defensive backs. Our defensive backs showed some weakness against the Commanders in week 1. Last week, we went against a putrid wide receiver core for the Indianapolis Colts, and they were able to lock them down. But it's going to be a lot different this time. I mean, this wide receiver core is just as good, if not better, as the Commanders, and you're going to have to stop Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer. There's a lot of dudes out there. So, if it's a situation out here where, look, we have 4 guys rushing the passer, they have 6 guys, 5 offensive linemen plus a running back helping to protect. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the defensive backs. A lot of eyes are going to be on them. It's like, okay, they have committed to being able to protect Herbert. Now that he's protected and can throw down the field, are you going to be able to cover? Are you going to be able to cover the likes of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams? Keenan Allen, great route runner. Mike Williams, he can beat you over the top. It's going to be a lot of really, I think the back 7, the defensive backs, I think they can win or lose this game for us. So I'm really hoping they show out, and all the miscommunication issues we had in week 1, hopefully all of those are resolved. Now, when you look at this, man, this is a huge test for the Jaguars. And I know right now a lot of people are bothered by it. I'm not, but a lot of people are bothered that, it doesn't feel like the Jaguars are getting much respect after the Indianapolis Colts game. Because if you look at it, everybody is more so clowning the Colts right now because everyone's putting the Colts people focus on the better team, okay? And, I mean, when you guys see it upset, you're looking at, like in college football, oh my gosh, look, Texas A&M lost to, what was it, App State. We're clowning Texas A&M. We're not really saying, okay, maybe App State has a good team. It's similar with the Jaguars, They're looking at the Colts being like, okay, what's going on with them, instead of being like, they're saying the Colts are really bad. They're not really saying, maybe the Jaguars are good. So this is the test right here, man. If the Jaguars can go out here and beat the Chargers, then you're putting the NFL on notice. Then you're stacking wins. You're winning back-to-back games. You're going on the West Coast, which you haven't won an away game since 2019. It's a terrible streak. So you're going out to the West Coast to try to snap that streak. A lot of things going for the Jaguars, and it could be Trevor Lawrence's. It could be his time to really show the NFL that he's here. I mean, this is a 4:00 game. They're in that window where only 3, 4, or 5 games are going on at a time. You're not in the big 1:00 mess. So it's time. I mean, if the Jaguars have arrived, let's show them. Let's go out there and upset the Chargers and show them that, hey, this Jaguar team is for real. Now, lastly, I will not be live streaming this game. I usually live stream. The reason why is that this weekend is actually my bachelor trip. I'll be on a cruise. I will find a way to watch this game, and I'm hoping I don't know what the Wi-Fi situation will be, but I'm hoping maybe I can do a halftime live stream and kind of give you guys some updates. And pending the result of the game, I might try to go live after or make a video after. If the Jaguars are winning and I have enough beers in me, drinks, I might just be I might be riding high on emotion and I won't be able to help myself but to, pull up a live stream or something like that. So be on the lookout for that, guys. I'm really excited. I was really down at the Washington game. I'm really up right now. Now it's really time to see what kind of team did the Jaguars have. Let's show the team that we're not only legit, but that we should be the team that everybody is picking to win the AFC South. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like for me on your way out, and go Jags.
Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars, too much for your crew to handle. Keep it lit, and this is the #1 YouTube channel by UCF Jaguar. Yeah, we about to blast off. If you've been a fan, then this is the dopest platform. Yeah, never hold back. Gotta represent for the teal and black.